I've transmigrated into a book, but I'm neither the protagonist nor a supporting male character. I'm just a background character whose stupidity, cruelty, sharp words, and arrogance serve to highlight how amazing the beloved protagonist truly is. The main character, Matthew, is the lost child of a prestigious family from City A. He managed to escape the awful adoptive family through his own efforts and went to the big city to make a living. During this time, he met all kinds of high-quality men with extraordinary identities. Cold-hearted domineering CEOs, cool and wild race car drivers, scheming top-tier celebrities, gentle painters, all were fascinated and infatuated with him, and a series of highly entertaining and intense male rivalry showdowns unfolded. Of course, a thrilling story wouldn't be complete without some cannon fodder to spice things up. The original owner, Lucas, who shared the same name as me, was a child adopted by the Lin family after Matthew went missing. He had enjoyed over a decade of a life of luxury, being doted on by the whole family and treated like the apple of their eye. Later, Matthew was recognized back into the Lin family. The real young master of the Lin family has returned. What's more, due to feelings of guilt, everyone in the family is bending over backwards to care for and compensate him. The family members who originally only doted on Lucas started to pay more attention to Matthew. You could even say they ignored Lucas. This huge disparity started to make the original owner feel resentful. He didn't want anyone to take away the love that was supposed to be all his. He didn't want Matthew to return to the Lin family. Lucas was even thinking about why he wasn't the biological younger son of the Lin family. After learning that William, the head of the Hua family whom he had a crush on, actually treated Matthew differently and even seemed to have feelings for him, the original owner completely turned to the dark side and went crazy, desperately trying to kick Matthew out of the Lin family. He started targeting, suppressing, and verbally abusing Matthew, constantly going against him all day long. Lucas hates Matthew so much that he'd even complain the air is polluted when Matthew walks by. Lucas, spoiled by his family's long-term doting, developed an arrogant and self-centered personality. First, the Lin family members, out of old affection, still had a tolerant attitude towards him. They just gave him a verbal warning, telling him not to bully Matthew anymore. Later, the things he said and did got more and more excessive, gradually wearing away the affection the Lin family members had for him. And even though he was already married, he just couldn't let go, chasing after William and competing with Matthew for a man. In the end, his fate was naturally quite tragic. I was just that unlucky to be reborn as this evil, stupid cannon fodder. He was also told by the transmigration system to follow the plot obediently, or else he would be forcibly erased. What's the difference between this and blatantly telling me that your death is near? At this point in the story, Matthew had just been found not long ago, and the original owner was bundled off by the Lin family to marry Benjamin, the younger son of the Li family. Benjamin, the younger son of the Li family, barely showed up in the book. He wasn't a main character and was only mentioned in passing. But from the memories I received, I know he's quite wealthy and has a free-spirited, unrestrained personality. Thinking that my time was running out, I was as anxious as a cat on a hot tin roof, fidgeting non-stop. Just then, a very peculiar electronic voice rang out in my head. Ding! Congratulations, host, for binding the I'm a Big Pop Star system. 99 is sincerely at your service. It was that kind of indescribable, sneering tone. I was annoyed as hell and blurted out without thinking, who the hell agreed to this? Scram pronto. Am I really that easygoing? The transmigration system also popped up to seek attention. Frowny face. I bound to this host first. Scram. 99. Don't you this system understand the concept of sharing? Hosts are scarce these days. Do you think it's easy for me to find someone? Get lost. Both of you. Just as I was about to keep cursing, I heard 99 say in a rush, this system has a higher priority. When the host is performing tasks for the book traversing system, activating this system allows you to ignore the rules of the book traversing system. I hit the brakes and said, come to think of it, I'm kind of curious. How does one activate the system? All the host needs to do is open their mouth and sing beautiful songs with their one in a million beautiful voice. My smart brain started working fast. So, All I need to do is sing a few lines instead when I'm about to say those self-destructive lines, and there's a chance to change the plot and avoid the tragic ending? I asked cautiously again, what about shouting songs and rap? 99. Count it. Might as well give it a shot. There's at least a glimmer of hope. I let out a quiet breath and said in a soft voice, "You're busy." At the Lin family's dining table, Levi, Sophia, my eldest brother Sebastian, Matthew, and I gathered together. Soon, I'll be reaching the first plot point since I transmigrated into this book. At this point, I hadn't had a falling out with Matthew yet. It was just that the original owner had unilaterally picked fights a few times before, causing some minor skirmishes. It was all mediated by the Lin family. Seeing that time was running out, I quickly buried my head in my meal. The food is quite rich today. Before I'd even swallowed a few bites, Sophia quietly probed, "Lucas, how've things been with Matthew lately? Have you gotten to know him better? Changed your mind about him at all?" In the original story, the previous me had slammed down his chopsticks and spat out a rant, calling Matthew a manipulative, emotionally draining player who should have been kicked out ages ago. The whole family froze in shock. Things spiraled from there, and the original version even ended with him flipping the dinner table over. In the end, everyone left in a sour mood. A tiny jolt ran through my entire body. That damn book reading system, still throwing me a little electric shock like some kind of dramatic reminder. Really? I set down my chopsticks and swallowed the food in my mouth. Then, I looked up and murmured low, letting out a soft, breathy hum. This guy's got no ulterior motives. Smiles all the time, playful to the point of mischief. Cries at the drop of a hat, super sensitive. A shy little kitten around strangers, but turns into a slick, seasoned player with people he knows. Proud to a fault, loyal as hell, wild and free, always cracking jokes. Honestly, I've been brainwashed by too many short videos. Had to fight hard not to start bobbing my head or dancing like an idiot. When I finished, silence fell over the whole room. They all stopped what they were doing at once, eyes locking onto me. Inside my head, I gave a slow, smug smirk. So, I finally couldn't hide it anymore. My singing talent's been exposed. Look at the Lin family, completely lost in their own heads. After a long pause, Sophia was the first to snap out of her daze. Really, that's wow. Really good. Really good. She forced a stiff smile. I nodded slowly, with meaning, waited a few seconds, nothing happened. Everyone kept eating, heads down, but the air had shifted. Something off, a little strained. Was that plot point finally behind us? Honestly, it actually worked. Just as I was thinking that, 99 piped up, "Host, you messed up one word in your first line." I didn't flinch. "Oh, sorry." Blanked on the lines. "Fine. This time, I'll let it slide." Guess 99's still got some sense of humor left. For the first time in a while, life actually felt like it had a glimmer of hope. I straightened up and pressed on. I drove back to my current place, Benjamin's house, the home I share with Benjamin. After the wedding, the original owner moved in with him. There's actually a reason why the original owner, despite having feelings for William, agreed to marry into the Lee family. After Matthew came back, things between them got icy fast, so Sebastian cooked up a plan. Get the original owner married off to split them up and cut down on FaceTime. He dangled a chunk of shares, enough from Goo Group to make it tempting. The original owner was just an adopted son in the Lin family, always worried they'd leave him with nothing. Plus, he wasn't exactly smart, figuring that since the Lee family was wealthy too, he might as well take a chance to grab some extra gain, so he finally agreed. But there was zero real bond with Benjamin. They never even shared a bedroom, just lived separate lives under the same roof. The original owner spent most days shuttling back to the Lin family mansion. Barely saw Benjamin at all. Back at the big mansion, I took in the sleek, grand interior and the spacious, sunlit rooms, letting out a long sigh. Only cold, hard cash, and this house could soothe the soul of someone who'd been cast as a disposable villain. I wandered through every corner of the place, then flopped back into the living room and just stared at the ceiling, mind blank. Then it hit me, I was officially one of the rich now. Can't afford to slip up in speech or mannerisms. Not after this. So I got up and started practicing. Stand straight, gaze into the distance, casual as hell. These fish ponds? I'm taking them. one hand in pocket, one holding a champagne glass high, voice smooth and cool. 7-3. I'll walk if it's not that way. Just about to go another round when I heard footsteps at the door. Benjamin was back. Our eyes met. He froze, caught off guard by my sudden CEO vibe. "What the hell are you doing?" he asked. I shrugged and said, "Just being myself." He looked away, didn't even respond, and headed straight up the stairs. I watched his back, then paused, stunned. Damn, he's hot. Really hot. Perfect face, perfect build, straight out of a fantasy. I've never had someone like this before. Not in real life, not even in that novel world where top-tier guys are as common as dirt. So tell me, how is it even possible our marriage is just a formality? Sorry, I can't just waste something this perfect. So that night, I grabbed a pillow and knocked on Benjamin's door. When he opened up, I struck the pose I'd rehearsed, eyes all soft and heavy. "Hey, hubby, wanna spend a magical night together?" Benjamin just stared at me for a beat, his perfect face flickering with confusion. His lips parted slightly as he murmured, "What are you trying to pull? What an unromantic jerk." His eyes swept over me, cold, assessing. I stood still, letting him look. He leaned in, narrowing his eyes with a dangerous glint. Benjamin paused for 2 seconds, then muttered to himself, I see. You're trying to get pregnant with my kid, so you can climb the ladder and pull strings with me?" Finished speaking, he wore that smug look, completely convinced by his own genius. I was stunned. Wait, do I even have that kind of power? And can guys even get pregnant? And what about the top spot? I'm already his legally recognized partner, aren't I? The wise light in Benjamin's eyes froze, and a flash of embarrassment crossed his face. He clearly caught on. Then he let go of me and turned away with a quick, casual motion, let out a low hum. "Anyway, I'm not falling for that. Just leave quietly." So I just tossed my pillow onto his side of the bed and flopped down on top, hand on forehead, feigning weakness. I don't know what's going on. I just suddenly feel completely drained, looked utterly frustrated, like I'd lost the fight before it even started. And that's how I ended up staying in his room, playing my little game. No real scenes for me these past couple of days, so I basically lived like a king, staring at the long string of zeros on my bank balance, finally getting what it feels like to be rich. I'd order 2 servings of takeout at once, from total strangers who didn't even speak to each other at first, to now casually trading a few words here and there. I've grown a lot closer to Benjamin. After all, I'm determined to sleep with him, so I'd better build a good relationship with him as soon as possible. A few days later, my elder brother Sebastian messaged me, asking me to take Benjamin back for a family gathering on Saturday. I think there was a part like this in the original novel. Lucas caused a ruckus at a family gathering. Time to tidy up and get back to the story again. Sigh. After I told Benjamin about this, he didn't hesitate much and agreed right away. Besides the Lynn family members, Sebastian also invited his good buddy William to this gathering. At this stage, William had already developed a strong liking for Matthew and knew about the bullying Matthew had suffered from the previous owner of the body. So when I accidentally got left alone, he indeed came after me. Lucas, a title without the slightest warmth. I turned around and saw William standing behind me with a stern face. A tiny electric current jolted through my entire body. I heard from Sebastian about the thing where you bullied Matthew before. Suddenly, William demanded in a cold voice, "I'm asking you one last time. Can you get along well with Matthew or not?" "You bet." I struggled to swallow the words of refusal. As soon as he opened his mouth, beautiful singing came out. The chill around William seemed to pause for a moment. William stared at me for a few seconds. He paused for a moment, and then, to my surprise, he asked the very question from the original book again. "Also, why did you suddenly agree to marry Benjamin? Seriously, is there no end to this?" My mind was racing, and I could only keep singing. Because of love, it won't be easily sad. "William, can you just talk normally? So just because I turned you down, now you're brushing me off like this? I told you, if you want others to like you, what you should do most is to improve yourself, instead of acting crazy all day long." "Okay, fine." William got sidetracked and didn't follow what was in the original story. "I'm free. Why are you so worked up?" I glanced at him, took a slow sip of the soda in my hand, and said casually, "Ask Matthew to make you a bowl of loofah soup." William was stunned and didn't say another word for a long time. Right then, Benjamin's shout came from behind. "Lucas, come over and have some kebabs." I felt a sudden sense of relief. This part of the plot was finally over. I turned around cheerfully and said, "Coming, honey." I jogged up to Benjamin and, without thinking, snatched the biggest chicken leg from his right hand. Benjamin gritted his teeth and muttered, "This is the one I baked for myself." I took a big bite and easily forgave him, saying, "It's okay. What's yours is mine." The plot of causing a ruckus at the party originated from William's interrogation. Now I've defused it perfectly, so naturally there's no further development. Benjamin and I ate to our heart's content and then drove back to my place. Yes, it's my performance that benefited that so-called big star system. On the way back, 99 praised in my head frowny face host, "Such a beautiful singing voice is really unprecedented and will never come again," with an extremely flattering tone. I felt refreshed and said, "Of course. What kind of thing are you talking about?" The book Transmigration system came out to make trouble frowny face 99. "With your taste, I'm afraid you don't have much achievement." 99 instantly bristled. "How unreasonable. You're spreading rumors." "Ignore it," I said, comforting myself. "Is getting jealous because we're working together so perfectly." 99 happily showed me an emoji. Just then I heard Benjamin, who was driving, say casually, "You should have told me earlier." I turned to look at him. Seeing a strange smile appear on someone's face, I repeated it again. "You should have said so earlier." Talking in your sleep? Making sure he wasn't on the phone and that we were the only two people in the car. I asked, "What did you say?" "Say you have a crush on me." Caught a red light right on time. Benjamin lazily lifted a hand to brush his hair back, adding a touch of messy charm to his head. He went on, "Say that you and I got married after a long scheme, and that you're head over heels in love with me." I asked humbly, "How do you know that?" "I heard what you said to William." He emphasized, "I wasn't eavesdropping. The place is so small that I couldn't help overhearing when I got closer." Seeing that I didn't say a word for a long time, the smile on Benjamin's lips grew wider, and he said smugly, "It's only reasonable. I'm just saying, I'm really great and handsome. There's no need to feel shy about liking me. Honestly, you should have spoken up sooner. For anyone who has a crush on me, I'm always willing to be a little kind." That night, I played online games with Benjamin and realized he was still a pro, so I excitedly asked him to play games with me all night. Dawn was just breaking. He went to work in a daze with dark circles under his eyes, looking angrier than a ghost. Instead, I flopped myself onto the bed and closed my eyes for a nice sleep. Slept right through until it was almost dinner time. Didn't ask the aunt to come and cook today. I opened Xiaohongshu and searched for a well-known restaurant in the city. Send the address to Benjamin. "Honey, can you stop by this place after work?" Benjamin replied quickly. "What are you doing? Pick up the file or what?" "Lucas, get me a meal. Remember to order their signature dishes." He still brought me food. He's really useful in this regard. After that, whenever I want to eat something, I often ask him to run errands for me after work. At night, Benjamin and I were each lying on our sides, scrolling through our phones as usual. Just as I was having a good time, I was startled by a sudden noise from the side. I turned my head. The sound came from Benjamin's phone. Clearly, he didn't do it on purpose either and was even more scared than I was. The phone flew out of my hand. Pay attention to the following points and quickly forward them to your buddy to make him take it seriously and reduce risks. Holy cow, you're watching something so shocking? The phone fell on my side, and I reached out to pick it up. Benjamin exclaimed nervously, "Hold on a minute." Ignoring him, I picked up the phone. There was a doctor's science popularization video playing on it. Benjamin protested stubbornly, "Piece of junk phone," randomly pushing things to me. I shot back dryly, "Isn't this just the search page?" I glanced at his search history, yikes, one after another. How to showcase your extraordinary charm for the first time. I arched my eyebrows and looked at him, trying to cover it up. Playing hard to get? Oh man, I flashed a charming smile. You meant for me to hear that, didn't you? Trying to hint at something? Can't wait? Quite the pro. Looking at Benjamin's ears that had turned red from shame and indignation, I felt a sense of satisfaction in my heart and replied, "You should have said so earlier." He snatched his own phone and turned it off. The next second, he leaned in and kissed me. I slept in until noon, stumbling downstairs half asleep, I found that Benjamin was still at home. I checked the time, then looked at him, wondered, isn't today a day off? Skipping work, he said, lifting his chin slightly. An excellent husband doesn't miss any details, including the perfect aftermath. I was speechless. When Lucas' eyes landed on the sumptuous dishes on the table, Benjamin started, "This is something I specifically made it for me? Ask the aunt to make it for you." The second half of the sentence was spoken simultaneously by both of them. Benjamin was taken aback. I guess he didn't think of this aspect. I stretched out my index finger and gently waved it. Still not detailed enough. He flinched and said, "Where are you talking about?" Details, I added. "I'm saying you still lack in details." He turned off the engine. "Next time for sure." After having lunch, Benjamin drove me out, but actually neither of them knew where to go, so they just drove around aimlessly, enjoying the ride. Get off the car to stroll around when you see nice scenery, then get back on the car and continue driving, repeating this cycle. In the evening, I wandered around and reached the city center. When I went to the mall to buy milk tea, I saw two people coming towards me. One guy was wearing sunglasses, dressed very stylishly, and had a few silver chains hanging around his neck. This person is precisely Daniel, one of the main characters in the book, the arrogant and flashy race car driver. The other one was Matthew. The two of them seemed to be out shopping. What a coincidence. Fancy meeting you here. Alarm bells went off in my head. Shoot, it seems like the plot is about to unfold. Seeing me, Matthew said something to the person beside him, and the two of them walked towards me one after the other. As it got closer, Matthew took the lead and greeted, "Brother." This was how the original character in the novel replied, "Who's your brother?" "Get lost, you shameless thing." "Then I definitely can't answer like that." "Oh, bro is just a legend." Matthew froze for 2 seconds before forcing an awkward smile. Daniel, who was beside him, had an expression of, "Are you crazy? You and my brother-in-law are here too?" This line isn't from the original work. I felt a sense of relief and took a sip of the bubble tea in my hand. "Just here for some fun," I said. "Oh." Matthew lowered his eyes and suddenly smiled shyly. Looking at Benjamin, he quipped, "You really spoil my brother. You're even willing to accompany him on a weekday." He pursed his lips, looking a bit forlorn. "That's nice," he said. "Companion is the foundation for a stable relationship." Benjamin replied seriously, then looked at Matthew curiously. "You two just happened to meet here?" Daniel's face changed slightly. "Matthew, no. Daniel is just accompanying me for a stroll." Benjamin put what he had learned into practice and said to Daniel, "You really spoil him. You're even willing to come out with him on a workday." Looking at the constipated expressions on their faces, I almost burst out laughing. Matthew made an excuse and left. Just before leaving, Daniel even turned around and glared at me, but Benjamin quickly stepped in front of me and made a threatening gesture of slicing his throat at Daniel in a cocky manner. "Where are we going now?" Benjamin asked. I couldn't think of anything for the time moment. He said, "KTV?" I flatly refused. "No way." "Why?" he wondered. "Seems like you really like singing. It's really hard to complain about." I had to make up an excuse. "The stage isn't big enough." Benjamin mused. The transmigration system came out to mock. Matthew's birthday arrived, and the Lin family threw a birthday party for him. Lucas and Benjamin were invited. After all, it was the first birthday his son had celebrated with him since he came home, so the banquet was held very grandly. Invited many influential people to attend. This is naturally also an important plot point in the book. The scene is quite lively and there are a wide variety of food options. Benjamin ran into a business partner, and I was busy looking for food. After entering the banquet, we quickly dispersed. Was happily eating to my heart's content in a corner. A few young masters walked towards me. Taking a closer look, it was exactly the riffraff the original owner had befriended before, complete dandies. One of them sat down next to me, put his arm around my shoulder in a very familiar way, and said, "Lucas, why don't you teach that Matthew a lesson? He's throwing such a big party. Doesn't he take you seriously?" A shiver ran down my spine. Here comes the plot. "Lucas, be a good man and strive for self-improvement every day. Stop looking for trouble all day long. Do you think you've got too much time on your hands?" Everyone fell silent, and surprised looks appeared on their faces. Someone who wouldn't give up kept egging me on, saying, He lured William away. Can you put up with that? I'm too lazy to even comment. Lucas, someone asked. What does this mean? I gave him a meaningful look and said, when you reach my age, you'll understand. He was stunned for a few seconds, scratched his head and muttered, aren't I older than you? Having sent a few people away, I also got up and wandered around, was stopped by Matthew beside the outdoor pool. Brother, he smiled at me. Did you have a good time? I also smile and say, eat and be happy. Bet you're furious, your birthday bash never looked anything like this. Oh wait, I forgot. Mom and Dad never threw you a birthday party at all. What can I say? Guess it's tough when you're just the adopted one, huh? And William too. I know you like him, but he's in love with me. We're the perfect match. You'll never, ever take him away from me. A smug, unmasked look of triumph spread across his face, his eyes glancing at me with clear disdain. Of course he showed up, just like in the original plot, coming to slap down the disposable character. I went straight on Mike. You eat too many sprouted potatoes, grow into one big dumbass. That's why you think love's all sunshine and rainbows. His expression turned cold. Keep being stubborn then. I'll be waiting to see the day you end up completely alone. A sudden jolt of electricity shot through my body. Shit. Suddenly it hit me. In this scene, there wasn't just trash talk. There was a physical fight too. The background character shoved Matthew into the pool. My body jerked forward 2 steps without warning. I frantically activated the singing system. Can't help it. I'm turning into a stubborn little fish. By then, I was already right up close to Matthew. Thinking I was about to attack him, Matthew instinctively raised his hand and waved it to block me. My foot slipped, and I crashed straight into the pool. A dull thud pierced my ears. Not a big deal, though I can swim, so I quickly adjusted my posture and surfaced. The commotion wasn't that big, but it still drew quite a few people gathering around the poolside. I popped my head above the water, only to see everyone staring at me, clearly confused. Oh God, this is so embarrassing. Man, I don't know what possessed me. Gotta show off how chill I am, like I totally didn't care. I immediately launched into a butterfly stroke right there in the pool. Finished swimming, I was just about to stroll onto the shore like nothing had happened. Just then, I spotted Benjamin approaching, chatting with someone. Yes, I'm married, and my partner and I are doing great. He's actually at the party too. I can introduce you if you'd like. The next second, his eyes locked onto mine as I surfaced in the water. Lucas. Benjamin gasped, his face paling in shock. The man beside him paused, then said, so this is Benjamin's partner. No wonder he's so talented. Just saw you swim the butterfly earlier. Absolutely flawless. Benjamin ignored him, strode over, and hauled me out of the water. The Lin family arrived too. Seeing me drenched, they exclaimed in surprise. Lucas, what on earth happened to you? It hit me in a flash what Matthew had just said to me. No need to check the security footage. Matthew didn't push me in. I just suddenly felt like swimming. Given how it looked just now, the security footage would only make it seem like Matthew pushed me. I scrambled toward Benjamin, burying myself in his arms and putting on a pitiful act. Wide-eyed, panicked, but trying hard to stay composed. This, Sophia's voice softened, her brow furrowing. What on earth is going on here, Lucas? Did you really just fall in by accident? I sniffed, voice trembling. My brother didn't curse me to be abandoned by everyone, and he didn't push me. Matthew's expression twisted for a brief moment. Lucas, what the hell do you mean? You're the one who went nuts and jumped in. He shot back. You're the one who insulted me. Sebastian stepped forward, hesitating. Is that so? Matthew, what exactly did he say to you? Matthew clearly wasn't used to lying. I blinked, then said, he said I've eaten too many sprouted potatoes. All right, Benjamin said coldly, I'll take Lucas to get changed first. Yeah, go on and change your clothes first. We changed clothes and headed home. Benjamin asked me what the hell had made me fall in the first place. I can't exactly say I wanted to turn into a stubborn fish. Slipped on my feet. Benjamin let out a knowing laugh. Smartass remark. You were probably just trying to show off your awesome swimming skills in front of everyone, right? Has more talent than I do. Honestly, nothing beats being at home. I headed back to my room, soaked in a hot bath, then changed into loose pajamas. Benjamin was waiting outside the bathroom, and as soon as I came out, he said, take some cold medicine. Me nope, Not eating, not eating. He didn't get mad, just pulled me over and started blowing on my hair to dry it. After finishing up, the two of them lay on the bed, scrolling through their phones. Benjamin glanced over at me every couple of minutes. After a while, he spoke up. "How's it feel?" "Doesn't feel quite right." I frowned in thought, then said after a moment, "Quick, find an auntie to take care of me." Benjamin blinked, confused. "What aunt?" My expression turned serious. "Auntie from Shanghai." After a brief silence, Benjamin handed me his phone with the food delivery app already open. "Wanna invite Alexander along too?" I nodded with satisfaction. Now this is brilliant. Full and content. I flopped onto the couch and idly tapped open a movie to watch. Benjamin, who had quickly tidied up the mess, snuggled close and squeezed in beside me. His hand on my shoulder was anything but well-behaved the whole time, either sliding down to rub my face or reaching under to pinch my waist. After that, I couldn't be bothered to pay him any mind, just leaned against his shoulder, not sure when I drifted off to sleep, waking up the next day on a soft, spacious bed. Life's been super chill and easy lately. With my smarts, quick thinking, and relentless hustle, the storyline about me has already taken a major turn. I didn't end up in some universally despised mess. The marriage was pretty stable, and things were going well between me and Benjamin. We hang out, eat, and have fun together. Still, we do argue now and then. It all started that day over something so small, so trivial I can't even remember what it was anymore. Things only got more heated between them, the argument spiraling faster and fiercer. "You have no idea how much I've sacrificed for you," Benjamin blurted out. "Everyone was calling you a twisted, evil yellow bird behind your back. I was the one who shielded you from all that gossip because I didn't want you to get hurt. And you know how awful it feels when everyone keeps asking which mental hospital I dragged you out of?" My eyes widened in utter disbelief. "Oh, so you're ashamed of me now, is that it? You only care about your pride. You don't give a damn whether I live or die. If it weren't for that damn side character plot, why would a handsome, kind, brave, strong, generous, charming, and talented young man like me end up being talked about behind my back like this?" Benjamin shot back, quick on the draw. "You just go all out with your artistic flair, not giving a damn about my pride." Almost couldn't catch my breath. I quickly raised a hand to rub my chest, taking deep breaths to steady myself, then turned back and plopped down on the head of the bed. Benjamin came over and plopped down heavily at the foot of the bed. After a while I cooled down. I realized I was the one who'd misunderstood him in the first place. Maybe I should say something to lighten the mood. Cleared my throat softly, steadied my voice, and said in a calm, gentle tone, "Honey, our fan's broken. It's spinning but not blowing any air. Can you fix it or what?" I said, then subtly tilted my head and snuck a glance at Benjamin. He froze for a moment, then his face suddenly fell, color draining from his features. "Which guy's place are you talking about?" "There's no fan in our place at all," Benjamin said, his voice tinged with a heavy sense of grievance. I grabbed the pillow and slammed it hard into him. "Get out." Benjamin stormed out, slamming the door behind him. I didn't see him again until 2 hours later. A noise came from the doorway, and I turned to see Benjamin back. And he's back. Not empty-handed, but carrying a damn fan over his shoulder. Seeing me turn to look at him, he finally stopped what he was doing, awkwardly muttered to me, "Don't bother fixing it, I got a new one," thinking this was the one he'd specifically driven to the mall to pick up and carry back. I was so pissed, yet somehow on the verge of laughing. "Fine, whatever, go help him set up the fan properly," I said. "Wanna go out for dinner tonight?" Benjamin's lips curled into a smirk. "Fine." And just like that, the two of them were back on good terms, completely out of nowhere. I woke up once in the dead of night, realized no one was holding me, groggily cracked open an eye, only to see Benjamin leaning against the headboard, playing a game on my phone. "What is it?" I poked him and asked, "Why aren't you sleeping yet?" Seeing I was awake, Benjamin leaned down and kissed my forehead. "Just grabbing a quick rank up," he said. "Might as well smash out a top-tier rank in Hero's Glory. The leaderboard locks tomorrow." I gave him a light smack and whined, "Quit it, let's just go to sleep. I can't sleep properly unless you're holding me." "Fine," he said, smirking, "after this game." So I dragged myself up and leaned against his shoulder to watch him play. acting as an impromptu off-site coach, which actually helped him secure the win. After the banquet, the Lin family's attitude toward me had improved quite a bit compared to those first few days after I'd arrived. They actually seemed to believe it was Matthew who pushed me into the water last time. Of course, the main reason is that I've gotten my own iPhone now. No need to bother Matthew anymore. Maybe it was my well-behaved and obedient act that reawakened the long-dormant warmth they once felt for me. They're actually calling me now, urging me to visit more often. Well, obviously I wouldn't be okay with that. Finally scraped through all the storylines with nothing left to trigger. Now what? Run into the main characters again and set something off. Later, definitely later. I've just been so swamped lately, I said lazily, stretched out on the oversized sofa, making it up as I went. Got a dog at home with serious separation anxiety. Can't handle me leaving. Such a pitiful little thing. Bring him back. No way, he's super scary, and he's got a bad temper too. What if he bites someone? Phew, finally managed to brush him off. I hung up the phone. Seeing Benjamin walking over carrying a tray of fruit, I poked a slice of watermelon and held it up to my mouth, letting him feed me. I opened my mouth and took it in, and he quickly slid over with practiced ease. He nuzzled up close to my cheek and started peppering me with kisses, then added with a puzzled frown, "Wait, since when did we get a dog?" I reached up and ruffled his black hair, chuckling, "Heh." I went to a gathering hosted by one of Benjamin's friends and unexpectedly ran into the main characters. A few people played out a little drama of glancing at each other, subtly drawing closer, deliberately approaching, teasing and pulling back, caught in that push and pull game. Asher, the fading top-tier celebrity, stepped aside with a quiet defeat and sat down beside me, muttering to himself. He never even looked my way. Am I really that much less than the others? Turns out he and the original me used to know each other. But because of Matthew, things between them gradually fell apart, until they drifted completely apart. Asher's remark just triggered another plot point. I could only speak up. What kind of man are you? What kind of man stands by and does nothing while watching him walk away? Asher's expression shifted. After a pause, he asked, "Since when did you get into singing?" "Just a tiny little hobby," I said. "Honestly, my dream since childhood has always been to become a singer." Asher fell silent for a moment. "Got any other dreams?" "What the hell does that mean?" I got rid of Asher. Not long after, Matthew showed up again and plopped down beside me, idly fiddling with the keys in his hand. Said, "On my birthday, William gave me a car, supposedly worth tens of millions. I didn't really need it, to be honest. He just insisted on giving it to me. I couldn't say no. What's there to brag about?" I laughed. "Let me tell you straight, I ride in a car that could buy 10 of yours, easy." "No way." After recovering from his surprise, Matthew asked, "What kind of ride did you take?" I took a sip of the fruit wine in my hand and said flatly, "High-speed rail." He stormed off furious. Just as Benjamin stumbled back from his night of mischief, he plopped down and immediately leaned into me, all clingy and warm, wrapping his arms around my waist and nuzzling his head against my neck. Out of the corner of my eye, I saw William approaching, so I quickly raised a hand and snapped Benjamin's still semi-sober face toward me, feigning concern. Honey, wake up, honey. Don't pass out now." Benjamin looked dazed for a second, then quickly caught my flailing hand and murmured, "I'm not drunk, baby. I could still kiss you breathless." And with that, the guy actually leaned in and kissed me. He kissed me, long, hard, and completely unfazed by anyone around us. Not quite the scene I'd imagined, but hey, mission accomplished. William backed off, no longer heading our way. The next day, I got a cryptic message from him. "You're in love with him?" I thought about it for a sec, then went ahead and deleted and blocked him. Not like we'll need to stay in touch anyway. Just an ordinary day, and yet I'd already caught 2 pieces of great news back to back. First, 99 has gathered enough energy to break the bond. Second, the deviation of the original book's plot regarding me, Lucas, has reached 99%. My transmigration system is about to unbind. I'm so damn happy I could pop a bottle of champagne right now, but still held back, replying in that polite yet distant tone people use when relatives show up uninvited and overstay their welcome. Leaving already? Why not stick around a few more days? Though secretly I was thinking, get lost already. As it was leaving, 99 dropped the act completely and said, "Listen, there's one more thing. You really can't sing, like, at all. If it weren't for that, I'd have gathered enough energy ages ago. You'd better not sing in public again." I snapped, "Get lost. You're the one who ruined my dignity." After leaving behind a heartbroken emoji, they finally took off. Nothing like a little good news to lift your spirits. My head finally felt clear, and I instantly relaxed, feeling so much better. Finally, I can have some real quality time with Benjamin.